Hi Stampers, I'm Meg from LovenStamps, and sorry for technical weirdness this morning. So if you were watching a second ago and now you're trying to figure out why I'm back again, here we are. And this is Maker Mornings with Meg on Wednesday morning. So today's video, we are going to be featuring the fabulous Pansy Patch stamp set, which came out in the new catalog that started last week. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it's only been a week since we've gotten this book because a lot of stamping has gone on since then. So I'm glad you guys are here this morning. Tanya, Kathy, Sue, Taryn. So we're gonna use the Pansy Patch, and this is kind of a special stamp set. There are two different styles included in it. So it's really like two separate bundles in one because there are not only the stamps that are stamp and then die cut, like, let's see, what's the example? This one here, stamp, so you stamp your flower and then you use the dies to cut it out. But there is also this version here where you die cut the pieces and then do paper piecing with them. So we're gonna talk about paper piecing this morning, which I know like strikes fear in the heart of some stampers. And really, when you look at the die set, it is a little bit daunting. So I'm gonna lay it out for you. It's gonna be super simple and you're absolutely gonna feel like this is something that you can do with no problem. So, morning guys, Kathy and Sally, Margie and Jenny. I thought I saw Marnie. Anyway, good to see you guys. Okay, so like I said, I'm gonna lay it out. It's gonna be really simple. You're gonna feel like a pansy expert when this is done. So we are gonna start with a base of the Designer Series paper. So these sides of the Pansy Designer Series paper are pretty busy. There's a lot going on in them. Of course, this one is the one that I used when we did our gift bag, our ombre gift bag, because the flowers on this one are so simple. You don't have to stamp anything. All you have to do is die cut them. But today we are actually going to use part of the paper on the back side. So on the back of all these patterns are really great sort of neutral shapes, which give you a lot of excellent flexibility for backgrounds on things when you have a really busy front image. So we're gonna use this gingham and set this aside for the moment. Okay, you guys ready? I'm gonna flip our camera down and I'm gonna show you how this die cutting is gonna go together for a really, really simple, simple stamping adventures, I guess. So, okay, let me get this set over here. And, okay, so we have our basic card layout here. We have our Pale Papaya cardstock, which is just a half sheet. So I'm gonna fold this in half. And then we have our gingham, which is gonna go on the background like this. This is 3x4. And then, you know, if you've been watching lately, that I'm like on a huge kick of adding an extra layer to things. And check out how that dark layer really sets those pieces aside. So the dark layer is Evening Evergreen, which is one of the new in colors, so it's Pale Papaya. I can't stop using these guys. And you're just gonna layer these pieces together and try not to be too sad about the paper on the back that you're covering up, the beautiful paper. If you have a hard time covering up beautiful paper backgrounds, I have some other projects that I can show you where you don't have to cover up them. You get both sides. So then this is gonna go on here, and I'm going to stick this down with Stampin' Dimensionals because that dark border really helps to accentuate the layers, but adding an extra round of dimensionals on there pops it up and gives you not only the paper border, but also just a little hint of a shadow border, which is a really nice accent for our card. So there you can kind of see. All right, so this is gonna be our base, and then we are going to lay out our die cuts. So on the dies, there are two sets, two kinds, like I told you. There are the kind that cut out the stamped flowers. And so like if this is the stamp, you can tell that this one is the size to cut it out. And then there are, so that's kind of these over here that are the open dies. And then if I cover these up, you're left with the paper piecing dies. So paper piecing Pansy Petals. Say that 10 times fast. Let's see. Oh, and Kim says, don't be afraid of it. See, good job. It's really not difficult. Kim's right. It is a little intimidating when you first see all the dies, but I'm going to show you how they go together, okay? So we are going to pull out these piecing dies, and I'm going to kind of show you how we're gonna do this. So actually, let's start here. Let's start with the leaves because they're really simple, or the simpler part, I guess. There are 2 dies that are the veined leaves that are gonna be the background pieces, and so they're gonna go on here like this, okay? So there's our backgrounds. Then we have this one, which has the lines inside it. And you know from the lines inside that is gonna be one of our piecing dies. Put the extra R in there. And then we also have these overlay dies, which we're gonna cut from Evening Evergreen. So we have Soft Succulent and Evening Evergreen. And actually, it's really fun to just make yourself a whole garden of pieces and then just mix and match your colors and see what you like. But that gives us our leaves, okay? Everybody's still hanging in there? Now we have a base for our pansy, and that is gonna be a light or a neutral color. And so I'm gonna take this one here and pop this on. So it is basic white. And then we need like a main color for our blooms. And for that, I picked the light purple. So this is Fresh Freesia, which is the new color. And this one, you're gonna want the beard, which is, or the outline of the beard, which is gonna go on the white there. And you're going to want, we're gonna make the fancy little, this fancy little piece right here, the extra like blooming bud, which is super common in pansies. So that's gonna come from this light color. And then this last one, you're gonna do 2 of this sort of the top petal die, okay? So you're gonna put this piece through twice and cut 2. And then the last one is gonna be our dark contrast color. And so this, I'm going to cut here, oh, it's not the last one, getting closer though. I'm gonna cut 2 of the contrast piece to match the top of these petals, okay? This is Blackberry Bliss. I'm gonna cut the little beard piece that goes in the middle, and I'm gonna cut the overlay for that sort of blooming bud, okay? And then the last thing that we need for our flowers is going to be the centerpiece. And this one is kind of a nice die. It cuts 3 at once, so you can cut those and set them aside, okay? So that is our layout for the die cuts that we need for this project, okay? So not too bad. So let's take this and, okay, try not to lose anything. I'm gonna bring this in here, and through the magic of television, we have our die cut pieces, okay? So you can kind of see how they lay out. We have our contrasting colors. So you can, mix and match 2 greens if you want for your leaves, mix and match a darker highlight color and a lighter background kind of color for your flowers, and then sort of a neutral base is a great way to go. You could also do this like an apricot and add colors here. And how to pick these colors, like how do you come up with something that coordinates? Well, you know that these 4 colors here are all gonna go splendidly together because they are all in the in color family together. And then Blackberry Bliss is a really great contrast tone with the Fresh Freesia. So you can kind of look through there, look through your colors. I always take my papers and, line them up together and kind of see like, oh, do those colors really gel before I cut? So, all right, you guys ready to start assembling? So your favorite assembling tool, oh, Teresa, I'm glad you caught it. And Cheryl, I'm glad you're excited about this. I know that the pansies have been a little bit panic inducing for people, but there's no reason for that. They are really fabulous, like Kim said. So good chime in, Kim. So I'm gonna take my multi-purpose liquid glue, and you probably know this tip, but I always leave it up in a little tiny cup. It happens to be a shot glass, but I like to collect these from places that we get to travel. So Cannes was one of the places that was in the French Riviera where we went on a Stampin' Up! Trip. So, all right, so I'm gonna take my pieces here and I'm going to work kind of from the bottom up, okay? So I'm going to start with my pansy here, the base, and I'm going to add my little beard to it. So I'm gonna actually flip this to the back, and because my glue is always pointed the right direction, then it's always there at the tip. Watch, this one's like super empty. Okay, well, way to give the good example, right? Okay, oh, maybe, oh, actually, okay, we'll just see. Is this gonna work or do I need a new glue? Let's see. Happen to have another one here, but I actually thought this one was emptier than the first one. Oh, there we go. Okay, so with the multi-purpose liquid glue, I always say if you can see it, it is enough. Okay, so you don't need a ton on there. And I'm gonna take that and flip it over and match it up with the outline here, okay? And if you pick it up, and the nice thing about the liquid glue is that you can still shift it a tiny bit. So I can actually just tweak this a tiny bit so that it gets lined up all the way around, okay? Next thing is to add this little beard piece on here. And if you've done a few of these, you can actually stop putting the glue on the piece that you have to pick up, which is always a little sketchy. I kind of prefer putting the glue on the paper and then adding the piece to it so you're not holding the glue part. But give yourself some grace to sort of figure that out as you go along, okay? So do some this way first, and then once you get really good at it, you'd know where the glue needs to go on here. So now I'm gonna take those Blackberry Bliss pieces and add them to our flower petals, okay? And again, if they don't settle exactly in the right spot, you can always pick those up and sort of nudge them into place like that one I kind of got off. So if you pick it up, it's a little easier to nudge the pieces together. There we go, okay? All right, so now I'm gonna go ahead and put these two together. So these get overlapped like that, and then this is going to go here. And I kind of, there we go, like those two sort of meet in the middle and then come out like that. I think, there we go, okay? So now I'm gonna switch gears a tiny bit because I'm going to add some little tiny Stampin' Dimensionals. These are the minis, and I'm gonna put one on each of these petals where I know it's gonna get covered up, okay? And peel the backings off, and then holding these in place so they don't move, so that all I have to do is bring back in my little pansy topper there. Okay, so now we have kind of our bloom well started here. To just give it a little bit more security in the back, I'll be adding some dimensionals as we go, but for the moment, that's good. And then last thing to finish this bloom is to put a dot, like I said, put your dot on the paper if you know where it's gonna go. Oh, and here's our daily begging to go outside. Oh, I do love our dog, but she has me well trained. Okay, now we're gonna switch gears just a little bit and do our bloom, and that is gonna pop up here. I'm gonna use another mini dimensional at the top like this and put our overlay on it. And so these are the same colors that I used, whoops, on our main flower, just done sort of in the blooming form. And then I'm gonna take our stem for this, and I'd say go ahead and put them together without gluing anything, and that will give you a chance to really know where your glue can go. So I'm gonna go ahead and pop this on the back. Oh my goodness, there must be squirrels or something exciting outside. It's good that our yard is kept safe from invading squirrels and bunnies. Birds also. All right, so I'm gonna give that 1 second to dry. You can see it just grabs pretty well right away, and I'm gonna step over here to let the hound out. All right, it'll be a good day if I can get her untrained for that. Okay, then we are going to go ahead and layer our leaves. And then, oh, Jan, I'm glad you like the explanation. The leaves are pretty obvious. You can really tell which one matches which without struggling too much. So there we go. I'm gonna pop this on here. And again, if you need to pick up the pieces to nudge them, that will, of course, work also. Okay, so there you can see how those pretty leaves come together. I'm a big fan of those. And we are going to go ahead and now put these together. So I'm gonna file these away. If you haven't already started this, inside my stamp cases, I keep a little packet. This is just a clear envelope. I showed these yesterday where I store my sequins, but I keep a little clear envelope of pieces and stuff, so you know they just kind of build up, and if I am in a hurry, I can sometimes just grab something from here, or like here's some of the die cut flowers that are from the designer paper ready to go. Anyway, just handy to have those. Or sometimes you get like a bunch, you know, put together, and I'll see a color combination in my little scrap bag that's like, oh my gosh, that was perfect. So it also protects it from your stamps then, so those pieces don't get inky. Okay, so now we just have to put our flowers together. So I'm gonna bring my card back in. And actually I have a tag piece that I need to show you, which is a really great trick for making a tag that doesn't quite fit, a tag that fits your greeting perfectly, even when there's one, not one in the package that matches. So we're gonna come to that, but let me do our flower first. We'll stay on track and finish our flower. Okay, so this guy is going to come on here. We're gonna pop this over here so that we have room for our tag here, and then our leaves. And honestly, I don't think it matters which direction you put your leaves. They're kind of a bigger one and a smaller one. I'm gonna go with a smaller one over here because this space in the corner is a little smaller, and we have this big space over here. And then our stem, I really kind of struggled with figuring out where to put this. And what I finally came up with was tucking it a little bit underneath here so that it kind of looks like it's all coming from the same plant. And that actually kind of made me happy. So I'm gonna lay these things out like I do usually for projects. And then I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals to put them in place. So I'm gonna hold these, and I'm gonna pick this one up because I want to use a Stampin' Dimensional as my sort of secret adhesive to hold the stem of our flower in place, okay? So now I've got our flower stuck down, and I can go back and add the leaf back on top of it. And I think that's gonna give us enough space for our greeting here. All right, and then I might go ahead and add another dimensional. I think actually I'm not gonna add a dimensional here. I'm gonna pop some glue on the back of this. There we go, to stick it down, just so I don't have like endless, because there's a dimensional inside our flower. You guys saw us put that together. And then this leaf, I think, is also actually gonna go flat on the paper. So think about varying your layers a little bit. And then our flower is going to get popped up, and we're gonna pop, like I said, some dimensionals on here because it's sort of stuck together, but it's a little bit loose in places. So I wanna make sure that my dimensionals really help to secure any of those paper piecing there. So Kathy says she wouldn't have figured this out. I think you would have, but I'm happy to help. And a green thumb. So yes, you will all be pansy pros. I have real pansies on my front porch. I thought about carrying the pot in here, but it's kind of big. So anyway, when you're trying to figure out how to set up your colors for your pansies, think strongly about Googling pansies and seeing what pops up as far as pictures, and look at the color combinations in the pansies. Use nature as your inspiration. So, all right, so we have our pansies, and now we need our fantastic greeting. The Pansy Patch stamp set has a great assortment of greetings in it. I'm gonna go with happy birthday for this one, and go ahead and stamp this on here. Now, I stamped an Evening Evergreen, which is one of the new in colors, like I said earlier, and is also a fabulous neutral for, like, you know, you'd stamp in black or gray or brown. Evening Evergreen is really great for filling that role too. So these are Tailor Made tags. We used them to make a tag. It's kind of their designed element here on our ombre gift bag. So this video is already posted if you want to go back and check this one out. I think it was episode 134. And the supplies for all of the projects, these two and the two that I'll show you at the end, are all in the video description here, so you can find those because they're all featured with my monthly tutorials for the month of May. So this tag is great. It happened to be the perfect size for this project. This tag though, these are all too long. So I want the rounded edge one. And when I pop this on here, it's just really, it's just a little bit too big for our project. So even if I put this on here like this, I don't want it to overlap quite so far. So you can cut the end off, but then you would miss the stitch line, which would just be sad. So here is our tip for for making custom tag sizes with the stitching. So what I'm gonna do is bring my mini, in here, my mini Stamped Cut and Emboss, pop my first pad on my first cutting plate, and grab a little bit of washi tape to hold my die exactly where I want it. So I just want it straight on there. And I've got our stitched end here. And then I'm gonna pop our other plate on. I always like to stagger my ends of my plates. It just makes it a little easier to go in there. And I'm sorry, I have it on a piece of paper, which is a sure way to shake. There's no earthquake going on. Sure way to shake around here. Okay, so there we have our first part cut. And like I said, this isn't really the shape of the die that I want because it's too long. So now I want to add the stitches. So I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of our scrap there. I'm gonna reuse my washi tape. That's why there's washi tape all over the top here, because I just keep it handy. I'm gonna take our die and I am going to turn it 180 degrees like this. And I'm gonna pop it back on there to die cut again, okay? So I've got it spaced, I think maybe one more dot. So what you can't see is that I can feel when the die is in the track. So I'm sliding kind of back and forth here, and I know that the stitches are lining up perfectly on there so that they are, here, I should washi tape it before I put it down, so that they're going to just cut the same holes again, okay? So I'm gonna pop that on there. And one of the joys of washi tape, I don't have to worry about it moving. And go ahead and die cut this again. Ooh, it's a little easier this direction. Okay, so then when I pull it out, I'm gonna move this guy out of the way. Try not to throw my plates everywhere again. I'm gonna take my washi tape off, and it is going to give me sort of the perfectly cut and shaped tag. So see how pretty that little tiny tag is for our card. So this is a really great tip. See how it's just perfectly in proportion now for making the most of stitched dies, especially like rectangles and things like that where there's a continuous edge around them, so you can just sort of put that die back through. So remember to rotate your dies 180 degrees, and then you can go ahead and add those extra stitch lines. So I'm just gonna take some adhesive and pop that down right in the back. And I love the way this overlaps on the edge of my card. And there is our really not daunting, right? You figure you guys have done this. Sue said how many times you practice to line up the stitches. You know what? You don't have to practice. And here is why. Where'd that die go? When you put this back in there, like here's my little scrap. When you put the die back in on top of here, you can feel it, like you can feel the little teeth that would make the stitch line lining up with the die that you already did. So if I was gonna cut this again, I can feel it grabbing right here between my fingers. So it really wants to line itself up for you. So it's not difficult. If you kind of slide it along, it just falls right into those grooves. Actually, it just grabbed it. Yeah, so not difficult at all. No practice required. And then of course, if you wanted to make like a little tiny tag, you could also do this size, this side, and you could pop the die back on here and just make a little tiny little tag like that. So if you have a little topper and you want to just say hello and it goes, you know, this direction or something, you can certainly do that. But you can maybe see better from this side that it really drops into those teeth really simply. Oh, Tanya says her birthday's coming up. Happy birthday, Tanya. Yeah, so whatever your stitched dies are, if they're a regular, you know, shape that you can rotate 180 degrees, that is a great tip for you. So, oh, our paper's all crooked. All right. Okay, so did you guys, oh, I should show you the other Pansy projects. I think you guys might have seen these, and they're on my website at LovenStamps under the card kits to go. Because one of the card kits to go for this month, so if you place an order that's $50 or more, you will get this card kit to go. Technically not a card, but actually you can use these as card envelopes. They're kind of a fun little gift bag, which features the new ombre gift bags. And the other one that you will get as a card kit to go is this guy, which I haven't shown you yet, but also includes another stitched tip for you, so that'll be coming. And then the other two projects that are part of that tutorial packet that you get for placing any size order is the card that I showed you today, so the steps by step for that. And then my favorite one for this month, I don't know, maybe the ombre bag is my favorite, is the buckle card. So this is a faux buckle that also uses the tag dies. I know that these don't look like buckles necessarily, but they make really great ones. So I'll show you how to use that here for this. And if you're looking at these supplies, they are the set of supplies that I have curated for the month of May, and they're listed in the video description here, or you can go to LovenStamps.com and look at the Stamp Club to Go, our Card Kits to Go page for the monthly tutorials, and see that list of supplies that's all listed out there. And the nice thing about those supplies is that you know that when you have them, you'll be able to make several different kinds of projects, the ones I just showed you, that all really feature the same thing. So it's always nice when you have a supply that there's lots of different ways you can use it, right? So all right, so I hope that I have convinced you that Pansy Petals is not daunting, that this is totally something you can do. And yeah, the dies are really flexible. Like I said, it's almost like two whole sets in one, because you have all the piecing parts and you have all of the die cut parts to do your stamping and your die cutting. So lots of choices. All right, guys, happy Wednesday. Have a great one, and I will see you again on Friday for another Maker Mornings with Meg video. So 9:30 Central Time. So I know it's super early. You West Coast people have your coffee, and a little bit later in the day for you East Coast people. But I'm glad you guys can tune in, because I really love seeing you and catching comments and everything. So, all right, hope you guys have a great day, and we'll talk to you on Friday. Happy stamping.